Okay, hi Figals. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work because I've never done this before and I've never used Facebook Live on my computer. Um, so I'm not 100% sure how this is going to work or if it's even working. It says that I'm live, but I don't know. So, yeah. Um, Hi Nicola, hi Natalie. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do this evening, as you can see, no makeup at the moment, which is not setting off all of my anxieties at all, completely, honestly. Um, so what I'm going to do this evening is just basically talk through how I go about putting my makeup on, what makeup I use, and some little tips and tricks for your skin. Now, um, at some point, hopefully Katie will be joining us. And if you've got any questions, Kelda on the loose. If you've got any questions, type them in the box as I'm going along, and I will try and answer them. But keep in mind, I will have my face in a mirror for a lot of the time. I would usually use a bigger mirror when I put my makeup on, but so that you guys can see what I'm doing, I'll be using a smaller one. I'm not fantastic at foundation and blush yet. I'm still practicing. So I may make some mistakes with that. But Katie will hopefully, thank you. I literally just washed it. I was so scared that the colour would come out like last time, but it stayed. So yeah, Katie will correct me on any of the mistakes that I make. So I don't want to sound condescending at any point. A lot of the things I say are probably things that you already know. But I'll just get started now, and if you've got any questions, want me to repeat anything, if I notice them, I will do so. So the first thing when I'm putting my makeup on is I always make sure that I've already washed my hair, because whenever you're putting foundation on, you need to get into the line. So there's no point in putting makeup on while your hair is still wet, because you're going to dry away that colour. Also, I apologise if my dogs start barking. I have got two small dogs that most of you know, and they bark at nearly anything. So because we don't want to get makeup in our hair, we're just going to clip it back a little bit. Now, I don't usually use foundation myself unless I'm going out for a night and I want everything to look perfect. Usually I simply use BB cream, Garnier BB cream. I think it works fantastically. But if I'm going out for a night and I know there are probably going to be pictures taken, then I will use foundation, because most of my friends here in Puerto are a lot younger than me, and they have perfect 20-year-old skin. I do not have perfect 20-year-old skin, so yeah, I would use foundation and primer for that. So I'm going to try and get a little close to the camera so that people can see. I have some acne scarring and some discoloration here from where I had a really bad outbreak of acne a few years ago. And obviously where I'm aging, I'm getting darker circles underneath my eyes and across the top here. So whenever you're putting any kind of eye makeup on, it's really important to make sure you put primer on your eyes to make sure that it stays the same tone. The other thing that you may have noticed is, again, because of my age, I have 90s eyebrows. I plucked them to death when I was a teenager, and then never ever ever coming back now. I get a few odd ones here which I tweezer out, but other than that, nothing. So for me, eye pencil is always very important, because otherwise in photos my eyebrows finish about here. Okay, Yeah, I always make sure now that my nails match my hair because I'm I'm a little bit vain like that, and I love my nails now. Okay, so we're going to get started. So because a lot of people asked for like the crazy darker outgoing kind of makeup, I'm going to start with the primers. Now, when I say primers, that is because I need more than one, and so do most people if they're putting on going out for the night makeup. And sorry if I keep moving my hair around, but I'm trying to get it in a position where I'm not going to get my foundation in it. So as I mentioned before, I have some redness here, which most people I think get as you get older, although mine has diminished since I stopped drinking. Oh, and I should also just point out, I know a lot of you know I've stopped drinking. I am drinking this evening, but as you can see on the front, it's sin. So this is non-alcoholic beer. I like the taste still, but I'm not getting any of the effect. I honestly don't know why I buy it, apart from the fact it goes very well with my hair. So, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to prime. So, I personally love Max Factor primers because they work for me, but it's all about finding something that works for your skin. I always start with a color corrector primer. Trying to get this. This is why I'd be useless on YouTube. I can't do things backwards. There we go. I think that works. Okay, so this is Miracle Prep Color Correcting Primer. And with Color Correcting Primer, you just need one squirt. So you've got it on your finger. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to dab it a little bit in the areas that you have problems with redness or any kind of discoloration in your skin. So I get the discoloration, like most people, on the sides of my nose. I get it here a lot from the discoloration from the acne scarring, and then I get it here as well. So I get a little bit on my chin. So once it's on, I'm going to try now to pop it on while it's on the camera, but it's really difficult because I'm doing things backwards. So you just want to gently rub it in, but you need to do it in circular motion. Whenever you're putting on any kind of creams or anything onto your skin, a circular motion is the best way, because this is not going to go into all of the fine lines or anything that we may have as we get older, and straight away that just covers up the redness and the red skin tone. With the green primer, you want to avoid the eye line. Okay, so my eye's going to look a lot darker as I put it on because I'm correcting the colour of the rest of my face, but not the actual eye part. That's why I said usually most people will use two primers, because you want one for your eyes and you want one for the parts of your skin that cause you trouble with discoloration. Okay. So remember, as I said, you want to go into the hairline because nobody wants a line here. Now this is also a very important part. We mustn't stop at the jawline. So when you're doing the primer, make sure you go down past your jawline for at least an inch. About 2.5 centimetres. I can never remember if it's Spain or England that uses centimetres or inches now. So prime the edges of your face where you may get some discoloration or any redness. Take it down your jawline if you're putting it onto a jawline, as I am. If you're not putting it onto a jawline and you're just putting it here, then obviously there's no need to do it here. But if you are taking it onto a jawline, make sure you go under as well. So I'll just take a second to do the same here. Again, always make sure that you're using a circular motion with your fingers. Now I know a lot of people say use a beauty blender to put on a primer. You can, but I find that using a beauty blender to put on primer takes a bit longer and doesn't give you the same effect. Katie will probably kill me for saying that. Okay. So now I am color corrected in the places that I need to be color corrected. So as you can see now, if you compare from the beginning of when I first started, my eyes now look more orange because I've corrected my face to look without any of the red in it. So the red in the darker colour, yes, the colour correcting primer is matte. I would also recommend that any primers you get are matte, because if you're going to go for, well, it depends on your skin tone. My skin tone is very oily. It's always been oily. I've always had a problem with oil and excess oil on my skin. So for me, mattifying foundations and primers are really, really important. I like to make sure that I use them, but as I'm getting older, I like to make sure that with my foundation, if I am wearing foundation, I don't use a matte foundation, because that can dry out your skin a little bit and it can go into the fine lines, and we want to avoid fine lines going into your skin, because then it looks fine when you first go out, but about half an hour later, you're going to find that basically you're going to see crease lines under your eyes. If you've got crease lines here, I'm quite lucky I don't, but if you've got crease lines here, or smile lines here, or creases here, if you've put in a mattifying foundation, then you're going to see fine white lines. So you'll need to touch up every now and then if you want to avoid that. So now I'm going to move on to my eye primer. Now I've got two different eye primers. The first one is for just general priming for your skin before you put on a foundation, and then the second one is a specific eyeshadow primer which makes your colour brighter and makes it last for longer. So the skin primer I use is Astor Skin Match. Astor is actually by Max Factor as well, but it's their cheaper brand. I don't like to spend a lot of money on makeup. This comes from when I used to live in China. Because I earned quite a lot of money when I lived in China, I was like, oh, I'm going to go to Clarins and I'm going to buy all of this really expensive YSL makeup. And apart from a couple of things, like their lipsticks tend to be nicer than the cheaper stuff, but really there was no difference. I saw no difference with the really expensive foundations and primers than I did with the middle of the road one. So the primer that I'm using is Max Factor Miracle Prep Color Correcting and Cooling, but don't worry, everything that I use in this demonstration will be put as links in the comment box afterwards as a little document where I found the cheapest ones for everything. Basically it's Amazon, and you can order whatever you like. I definitely recommend buying things like primers and makeup online if you can, because the store-bought stuff is always for some reason more expensive. As we will see later, again Max Factor, I should be sponsored by them. I use Max Factor mascara, and if I go to the shop across my road, then I pay 17 euros for it, I think, but if I buy it online, it's $9.99. So always buy your makeup online if you can. Okay, so for the eye primer, you're going to need even less than before. So I've just got this little tiny little droplet of it. So with this one, the easiest way to do it is split it evenly between your two fingers, and then again you're going to dab very gently, but you're going to put the majority of the colour above your eye rather than under. I'll come to that one in a second. Now the reason I said that is because, again, with the primer, like a mattifying foundation, you really want to avoid getting right into this part here. So as you can see, I've stopped just underneath. So I've done this part to get rid of the dark shadows. So you should see the difference between these two now. But I haven't gone right up to the eyeline because I want to avoid any creasing. And also when we come to put on the eyeshadow, then you can put a little eyeshadow primer there and it'll cover the darker line that we haven't quite got rid of with the primer. Now again, I'm not going to put a huge amount of primer on to my eye because we will cover that mostly with eyeshadow primer and a bit later, but it's just to make sure we've got an even base for when we put on our foundation. So again, just so you can see, I'm keeping just underneath the eyeline. I'm not going into the corner. We're stopping just about here, which is where the fine lines usually start. You want to make sure you avoid putting anything liquefying or mattifying into those lines because you don't want the creasing effect that will come. And again, just in circles, make sure you get into that corner part of your eye here. Most people forget that part. And then just in circular motions, round we go. And then there we go. We are now primed for some foundation. So, issues with pores being visible, do I think primer would be okay with that? You can actually get primers that are specifically for pores that will reduce pores, but the best thing that you can do is buy something called lactic acid. Now I use that every night and I use a 10% solution of lactic acid. It comes with a little dropper and you literally just drop a little bit onto your skin and then dab it in the areas that you need. And you put it on anywhere where you've got open pores or, like me, some acne scarring. I know it's difficult to see the acne scarring because I've got my makeup mirror on, but there is definitely acne scarring. I should also just say, this is a makeup mirror, a ring lamp. Anyone connecting now is just going to think they've walked into some kind of Korean horror film. But a ring lamp for putting on makeup is probably the best 10 euros I have ever spent. It really shows up all the flaws on your skin so that you can deal with them properly. Now, I think I'm about to get the hiccups, so I apologise if I start hiccuping through these. So yeah, for pores I would go with lactic acid and make sure you're getting a primer that's mattifying because that will definitely cover the pores, and that is the whole point of primer. The whole point of primer is to give your skin an even base for when you are putting on your foundation. Now, when you put on your foundation, and for this I use, not Max Factor this time, I use Revlon Colorstay 24 hour. And this I use for oily to combination skin because I don't want it to be totally mattifying, but I do want some mattifying because I don't want my T-zone getting greasy while I'm out for the evening. Now, this is something I only found out recently, and I will bet anyone watching will also go, oh my god, I never knew this. And it honestly is a life-changing way to put on foundation. The other reason that I choose a 24-hour foundation, and they lie, they're not 24-hour foundations, it's certainly not there about 13 hours after I've put it on. But I do sometimes start work quite early in the morning, and if I know that I'm going out straight away after work, then I will put foundation on in the morning so that my skin doesn't look too bad in the evening. Now, I'm going to do two things. So I've got my foundation. So the first thing that we're going to do is, now this is probably something you already know to do. We're just going to dab in crucial points where we need our foundation to go. Okay. So this is where a beauty blender is really important. So I have this little fella. My husband calls it my little purple peanut. I think it looks more like a snowman, and my kids in my classroom think it looks like a poop. So yay. So this is the first one of the tips where you'll go, oh my god, I've been doing this wrong all my life. So what you need for this is you need a bottle of water and a cap. What you're going to do is just pour gently a little water into the lid of the cap. You're going to take your beauty blender and just pop the blender in the top just a little bit. Hold it there for a second so that the top of your blender is wet. Now the reason for doing this is because a sponge is obviously a sponge. It's supposed to suck up, and we don't want it to take away and suck up your foundation. We want your foundation to be on your face, not on your beauty blender or your cosmetic sponge. So if you put a barrier of water on first, then it's less likely to soak into the sponge and more likely to go onto your face. But you don't want excess water, so take a tissue and just press on top a couple of pinches so that it's damp but not dry. Okay, now this is again where you might be going a little bit wrong with your foundation. When you use your blender, people do this all over their face. Now that is a really bad way to put on foundation because you're just smearing it everywhere. It's not really doing what it's supposed to do. So what you're going to do is take the tip of your beauty blender and then you're going to tap. And you're simply going to tap like this all over your face, right up into your hairline, which mine is quite blue at the moment. I have fecal hair. Now, as you can see, this is now putting most of the foundation onto my skin instead of onto the beauty blender, because we've put that barrier of water on. So we're going to continue doing that. I'm afraid there's no quick way of doing this. It just takes time. But you just tap, 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 tap all the way around your face. And again, when you're putting on your foundation, you don't want to take it all the way up into this part of your eye. You want to make sure you're leaving about ½ centimetre under the eye to avoid those fine lines, because we don't want them to stand out at all. And many people think putting foundation on them makes them go away. It doesn't, it actually enhances them. So we don't do that. So we're going to tap, 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 tap. Now if you're going to wear lipstick, tap, tap, tap on your lips too, okay? Because you want your lipstick to come on the same tone as the rest of your face is. So again, when you get to the corner, a little squidge like this, just to make sure you're getting into that tricky little point here in your eye. But you're just going to keep tapping, and again, you don't have to worry too much about this part of your eye because we're going to use an eye primer when we put on the eyeshadow. But remember to keep tapping. Now, the important part here, when we get to the tapping, is this is when we have to make sure we go down the neck. All the way. So you're about an inch, inch and a half down your neck. So 3 to 4 centimetres down we go. Because that is when you get the blending line and you don't want the blending line. It's also, for those of you like me who have a little bit of a double chin, if you're going to do any kind of contouring with highlighter to get rid of it, making sure that you've got a good foundation base there is a really good idea. So again, keep tapping, keep tapping. I know it takes a lot longer than your usual, but hey, it also means you use less foundation. You don't go through beauty blenders as much because you've made the barrier, and your foundation will last a lot longer doing it this way than if you rub it into your skin, because that way, if you're rubbing it into your skin with either your hands or just a normal cosmetic sponge, most of it's going into the sponge, and that's why it doesn't stay as long, because we're applying it wrong. Don't forget to do the inside of your nose as well. I know that sounds silly, but make sure you do the inside of your nose because you don't want a ring around your nose. Okay. So that's it for the base part. As you can see now from the start of the video, I don't have the rings around my eyes. The top of my eyes don't look as dark circled or as orange. And now I've got pretty much a flawless complexion. I really do wish that I could show you how to use blush, but I'm waiting for Katie to show me how to do that, because I am terrible at blusher, absolutely terrible. Now, when you use the beauty blender, it's very important that between each time you use your blender, you should wash it. The reason is, even if you've used the water trick to take away, to make the barrier, you're still going to end up with some makeup on the end, even though it's not as much as you would usually. And this will just breed germs if you've got any bacteria on your skin from things like spots or just daily dirt and grime that's in the air, the pollutants that are in the air. Obviously not so much at the moment, because hopefully we're not going out as much as we should be. But make sure you wash it. Now the best way to wash it, and you have to do this carefully because otherwise this happens and you get a squeaky sponge. So I've actually got a new one on order at the moment. You just take a normal bar of soap. I use Dove because it's not got any scent in it. And obviously if this is going to go on my face, I don't want anything that's going to be perfumed too heavily and maybe cause irritation. So you take a normal bar of soap and cold water. You lather up the soap with your hand a little first, and then you just rub the cosmetic sponge onto the soap. Do this a little bit with it, squeeze out the water, repeat until you can see it's clear, and then rinse, 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 because even when you think you've finished rinsing, there may still be some soap on there, so take that time just to do a little bit extra. Okay, so now we come on to the fun part, which is the eye makeup. Now, as I said earlier, I have ridiculous 90s eyebrows, so I will usually use an eyebrow pencil, which I've conveniently lost. Sorry, one moment. There it is. Okay, now a lot of people do the eyebrow pencil last, but I think if you're going to do something quite dramatic to go out with, it's best to do your eyebrows first, because then that gives you how much space you've got and it's more defined. So when you're putting on eyebrow pencil, I know a lot of people prefer to use, if you go on YouTube and you Google or you YouTube search how do I apply eyebrow pencil, they'll tell you to use a powder rather than a pencil. Now this is because the majority of YouTube bloggers or YouTubers are under the age of 25 or under 30, and they can deal with having powder on their faces. Hey Miss! They can deal with having powder on their faces, and it's not going to crack or do anything else. The really important thing as you get older is to use things that are as moisturizing as possible. So this is just a normal eyebrow pencil. I bought this in my local supermarket. Again, I don't think makeup should have to cost a lot of money. I think this was like €1.50 or something. So when you apply eyebrow pencil, start at the top line, go down to the edge. It's basically like a jigsaw puzzle. You should always start with the edges. So you start with the edges first, and then you fill in. Okay, so now automatically you can see that this eyebrow is stronger than the other. I'm never going to have eyebrows like Katie has, because again, over plucked in the 90s, but oh, and you should always make sure you use the other end, the bit that looks like a mascara brush, just to brush upwards and then across. So upwards and across, just to keep your eyes, your eyebrow hair in the right place. Gosh, this is really hard to do with this mirror because I can barely see my whole face. Oh, also just quickly while I'm filling in this eyebrow, I know I promised that I would do one kind of daytime wear and one kind of exaggerated nighttime eye, but unbeknownst to me, my husband made plans to go out to dinner this evening with one of our friends who actually lives in the north of Spain, so we haven't seen him for a year. So once I finish doing this tutorial, I'm actually going to go grab a cab and meet them, because here in Spain things don't get started until about midnight. So I'm unfortunately not going to be able to do two looks in one tonight, because I would look like a massive twat going out to a restaurant going, hey, I'm for daytime, woo, I'm the night. So we're going to move on now to the fun part, which is the eyeshadow. So I've got one of these little applicators. It's really weird, I don't know where the camera is to, hold on, that's making no difference. Okay, it's just using my camera from, that's why. Okay, I had my camera set up, my video camera set up, my high definition one, and it's just using my computer one. So that's probably why the video is not as clear. I'm so sorry, I'll try and make it better for next time. Okay, so everyone's probably got one of these that they get with eyeshadows. They come inside the eyeshadow palette. Throw them away. They're absolutely rubbish, never ever use them. They don't blend colour well, they don't do colour at all. You don't want that. So the look that everyone went with, or the majority of people went with when I put the poll up, is the Galaxy look. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to change the colours just a little bit because it's just a tad too dramatic for where I'm going this evening. So I'm still going to do the darker nebula look, but it's not going to be quite so dark because with my hair I'll end up going out looking like a 90s goth girl, which there is no problem. I was a 90s goth girl, but my husband will just go, oh my god, what are you doing? And then will refuse to have pictures taken with me all night unless he gets really drunk, which he doesn't. So you'll see here I have a little glass, and it's a Sprite glass, but inside it is not Sprite. Now before you do any kind of eyeshadow, the most important thing is that you have a glass which has a very light shampoo inside it. So I have just a little travel size Johnson & Johnson baby shampoo, which I put a couple of drops into warm water, and then I use one of my brushes to swirl it around and just make it clean. Now the reason for that is we're going to use the same kind of brush quite often, and we're going to use different colours, so you want to make sure all the colour is gone from it. So as you can see, this is the shaper one, so you just swirl it around a little, and then you're going to take some tissue, dry it out, and make sure that there's no colour on the tissue. And this isn't colour, this is water. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do, I'm just going to move a little bit for this one, because this will make eyeshadow easier with this silly little mirror that I'm using. Okay, let me just, okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is, if you're going to use eyeliner and you're not confident with using eyeliner, then what you want to do is you want to have a pencil that matches the colour of eyeshadow that you're going to use. Now, as I said before, it doesn't matter what eyeshadow colour I'm putting on. The same applies to whatever colour eyeshadow you have. You just have to have 3 complementary colours, okay? Now, the reason I said have a piece of white paper at hand is this. When you're putting on eyeshadow, it's really important that you put on eyeshadow that suits your skin tone. You can put on the best makeup in the world, but if you've put on colours that don't suit your skin tone, you're just going to look bad. So you need to know whether you are a cool or a warm skin tone. And you can't do that just by looking at your face and go, oh, well, I'm quite pale, so I must be a cold skin tone. I have a friend here who's got paler skin than me, but her skin tone is warm. So the easiest way to check what skin tone you have is look at the veins in your wrist. So do this with your wrist to bring up the vein. Luckily, I've got quite a strong one here that isn't tattooed over. And decide if you think it looks more blue or if it looks more green. And if it looks more blue, which mine is, then you're a cool tone. And if it looks more green, then you're a warm tone. So for me, I need to go for cold colours. And that can still be things like reds and pinks, but they have to be cold reds and pinks and yellows. And there is a wonderful video on YouTube, which I can link, which is all about colour theory and showing you how to choose between cold colour and warm colour. And pretty much the best way is having a white piece of paper. You hold it next to it, and then if the white edge of the white paper again looks more blue, then that's a cold colour, and if it looks more greenish, it will look more. Yeah, neither did I. This is something new to me as well. If you then hold it next to the colour and it looks more greenish, the paper looks more greenish, then it's a warm colour. So for me, I want cold colours. So first of all, we're going to go back to the pencil. Now, I'm going to be using dark blues and purples tonight, mainly because it matches my hair and it will match the clothes that I'm going to wear when I go out later. I'm quite confident with putting liquid eyeliner on, but if you're not, the best thing to do is use first a Kohl pencil, okay? Now, I can't remember who asked me, I think it was Gillian, who asked me how to do dramatic eyeliner. Dramatic eyeliner is actually quite difficult to do if you're not used to doing it. Sorry, missed a step. Again, apologies, first time ever doing something like this. The all-important eyelash curlers. It doesn't matter if you've got great curled eyelashes or anything, eyelash curlers are a must. Now you will use these twice, but the first time you use them is the most important. Now you can just put them straight on your eye and curl and hold, but the best is to warm them up first. You want them warm not boiling. Okay, so I'm going to turn a hairdryer on now, which is going to be quite loud. So if any of you want to mute for a second, I perfectly understand. Okay, count down to give you time to mute. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you just want 5 seconds so that you can feel it's warm but not hot. So then you're going to take your eyelash curlers, place it as close to the base of your eye as you can, and then we're just going to hold for a few seconds, and because we have warmed it, they will curl up, and the curl will hold more. So again, I'm going to be using the hairdryer for the other eye. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Always check with your fingers to make sure it's not too hot before you put it next to your eye. I don't want any of you with burnt eyes. So again, just hold. And then just use your finger to brush along the lash line. And then I'm just going to quickly give this one a little bit more. I have this horrible problem where I have, as you've probably seen from my pictures, I've got really long eyelashes, but they're nearly white. You can't see them. If I don't wear makeup, if I didn't wear mascara, you would never see my eyelashes. I'm actually going to the salon where I had my hair done next week, and I'm going to have my eyelashes semi-permanently curled and tinted. Okay, so we finished our foundation now, so we can take our hair down if we want. Okay, and for any of you saying, oh, your hair is so shiny, I recommend this product. It's in Spanish, but it's basically Garnier Fructis Miracle Oil. And you just take one spray in your hand, rub it between your hands, and just like this through your hair. And it's soft, shiny, and manageable without being greasy. So it's a really, really good product. As some of you may have seen me post as well, I've started using a new shampoo, which is called Function of Beauty, which is made directly for your own hair and tailored for your own hair goals. It is vegan, 100% cruelty-free, and it is just, my hair has never felt this soft. And considering I had it bleached like nearly 2 weeks ago, completely yellow bleached, my hair is still really soft and shiny, and it's mainly thanks to Fructis Miracle Oil and the Function of Beauty shampoo. So if you haven't used the Function of Beauty shampoo, go in the group and in the group search put in Function of Beauty, and my post should come up. If you use the referral link, you will get a free hair mask with your first order. Okay, so back to eyeliner. So always make sure that your eyeliner tip is pointed. If you live in a warm country like I do, or it's the summer and you're having a heat wave, it's always best, if you haven't got air conditioning like I have, to keep your eye pencils in the fridge, because otherwise when you put them on, they're just going to go and you're not going to get a precise line. So what you're going to do, if you're going to be using dramatic eyeliner, is you're going to give yourself a base first using a Kohl eyeliner, because this is much easier if you make a mistake to remove. So the best way to put on eyeliner is to tilt your head back, start about here on your eye, okay, so this point here, tilt your head back, start from the corner, stay as close to your natural lash line as you can do it. and just do it in small strokes rather than a single line. So I'll come a bit closer to see if you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just starting here, my head tilted back. And the reason you've got your head tilted back is that way you can see quite well where your eyeline is. And remember, you want to be staying in that lash line. You don't want to go over the lash line. And keeping your head tilted back also means it's really easy to join from here to here. So once you've done this part, it doesn't have to be too dark, because remember, you're just using this really as a template. Now, as you can see, I've stuck to my eyeline, so you can't really see the eyeliner. The goal of putting on any kind of makeup is to basically make it look like it's as natural as possible, whilst also making your eyes look really pretty. So just make sure you come out a little bit into the corner, keeping your head tilted back so that the line is straight. Okay, so I said that it doesn't have to be dark because you're just going to be using it as a template, but I'm just making it a little darker so that you guys can see it better. And remember again, make sure you're following your natural eyeline, so stick to the lash line. The reason you want to do this is the best shape for your eyes is the one you've already got. And if you want to do dramatic eyeliner, it's here that you're going to do the eyeliner. It's this part here. This line here, it's best if it sticks with your eye shape. Otherwise, it's very difficult to get both of them the same, and you don't want one to be absolutely perfect. Oh, I do not sound polite English. I have to speak like this because I'm a teacher. I'll try and speak more Cockney if you like. Okay, so basically just keep this as a template. You don't need to make it as dark as I've made it here, as you can see. Okay, I'm just quickly going to do the other one. And whenever you're putting eyeliner on, it's a really good idea to keep a box of just your normal cotton buds nearby, because it's perfect for making any corrections. And remember, we don't want to do it as one constant line. We want to do it in little. Also, when you're putting on makeup, make sure your dogs don't jump up and then whack you in the elbow when you're using a pencil. It hurts. Thanks, Lita. I love you too. Okay, so remember, you just want to do it in gentle strokes, rather than a continuous line. It's easier to not make it, it's easier if you do, as I said, little tiny strokes rather than a single. That's when you're going to jab yourself in the eye. If you're trying to draw a single line, you're trying so hard to keep it straight that you're going to end up jabbing yourself. So let me just double check. Okay. So again, remember what I said, follow your natural eyeline, little tiny strokes. Let's see if I can do it here for you. little tiny strokes each time. No, I can't do it like that because it's backwards. And I'm not that good. So little tiny strokes, building up the colour bit by bit. But again, remember this is just a template, so you're not going to see it too much. Make sure you've got your head tilted back. And, okay, so some of you may do this thing when you're putting on makeup where you go, or like this, okay? Most people pull some kind of silly face when they're putting on makeup that has to do with their tongue or with their mouth. The reason this is, and I was absolutely astounded when I found this out a few years ago, is that obviously we know that the tongue is one of the busiest and biggest muscles in our bodies. And because of that, our brain takes up quite a lot of space regulating it. So when we're concentrating on something, either makeup, pardon me, or just anything in general, we tend to hold our mouths in a fixed position so that we've got extra concentration. Who knew? Well, you guys do, yeah. So if you see me going, it's because I'm trying to concentrate. Also, if you are like this, it stretches your face out a little longer and it makes it easier to apply eyeliner right into the corner of this part. I'm not going to do that now so that you can see what I'm doing. If at any point you can't see what I'm doing well enough, tell me and I will try and get closer to the camera to do it. Okay, so this is where we're now going to start with our second eyeliner. Now, for me, because I'm doing blues and purples tonight, I need a purple eyeliner next, because I'm going to go purple underneath to match the fact that purple is the lower part of my hair, and blue across the top. The other thing when I mentioned about having cotton buds close by, not just to make any corrections. So for example, you might just want to run very gently over the top on both sides to make sure, and then one here and one here to make sure that the lines are perfectly in line with your eye. The other reason is, as Jill has just said, I make it look easy. I would have jabbed myself in the eye by now. Sometimes your eyes are going to water when you put on makeup. It happens to me. It will probably happen to me in the next part when I'm putting on the eyeshadow. If you keep a cotton bud nearby, best thing to do is put it into the corner of your eye here, look up, so it's not going to make you blink, and then just run like that, and it will dry up any of the excess water from where your eyes have watered from jabbing yourself in the eye with an eyeliner. Okay, so I'm now going to take my purple eyeliner, which matches my purple hair perfectly, and when we're going to do dramatic eyeliner, it's very important that you don't overdo it. You don't want the whole face to be covered, because the more makeup you apply, the smaller your eyes are going to look. So if we're going to do dramatic eyeliner here, which we're going to do because I promised that I would show the swish, when you do eyeliner underneath, you either don't do any at all, but I'm going to because that's the look that I'm going for tonight, or you only go as far as here, okay, to the middle of the eye, not out to the corner. So you want to make sure this part is opened up. Okay, so I'm going to be using two colours today. My first one is this lovely little highlighter blue, So I'm just quickly going to do that here. So as you can see, I've just gone into this part of the eye. Now remember what I said with the foundation, we don't want to get creases here, okay? And it's the same thing with the eyeliner. We want the eyeliner and the eyeshadow to sit just above where your fine lines are going to be, okay? Because where your fine lines are here under your eye, we've used the primer to make your dark circles go away. Your fine lines are here, and we're going to put your eyeshadow just above it. Now the eyeshadow will draw away attention, or the colour will draw away attention from any fine lines you've got, and it will also, crack my tissues, I need to blow my nose, sorry guys, there. Okay, and so as I was saying, the primer will cover the most of the dark circles. The eyeliner, because you put it just above the primer and the fine lines, will I'm sure it will look beautiful. And thank you, Rihanna, it's literally just been washed, so that's, if you'd seen it like a couple of hours ago, it looked terrible. Okay, so as I said, we're just going to go a little bit lightly into the corner of the eye. So I'll come a little closer to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. And again, we're just following your natural line at this moment, because right now we don't want to go overboard with the colour, because we are still just using the pencils as a template, and it will be the eyeshadow and your liquid liner that's going to give you the majority of the colour. We're just giving you this as kind of like a paint by numbers. So again, you're just going to go into the corner, round the eye, like a little C or a backward C. And it's just going to sit there. So maybe, depending on your eye size, 3/4 of a centimetre, but nothing more. Now this is when my eye has started to water a bit, so again, remember, you pop your, and there, your eyes are dry again. So now I'm going to take my second colour, which is the purple, and I'm going to take over from the blue with the purple, and again I'm sticking, as you can see, to the inside of the eye line. I'm not going into the eye, so I'm not inside this bit. Again, you don't want to put your eyeliner here on the inside of your eye, because it actually makes your eye look smaller. You want to put it just underneath, but into the lash line. So exactly the same as we did before on top, but this time up to just, I'd say it's more 2/3 than half, as I said before. But keeping within the lash line and building up the colour little by little with tiny strokes, as we did before with the top line. Okay, trying to get one straight line is really difficult, especially as we get older, because our skin isn't as firm. And as your skin isn't as firm, doing a single straight line is... Chewy, not everyone is trying to murder us. Come here. I apologise, there is a dog outside my house, and my tiny little dog thinks it's her job. Well, tell it to fuck off. Chewy! Come here. Come here now. Up. Come here. Come here. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Thank you. Now sit down. Sit down. Stop barking at everything. Silly little creature. Okay. Sorry about that interruption. So then we're going to do the same in the other eye. I'm trying to do this second eye quicker because I don't want to take up your whole evening, ladies. And any gentle Feagles that are watching. Okay. So now you should see that I've got the two colours. I've got the light blue. It's really difficult doing it backwards. I've got the light blue. I'm just going to point. I've got the light blue. Oh, I can't. I've got the light blue here, and then it comes into the purple. Okay. So light purple here. And then the blue there. And it's very important that we're leaving this part of the eye without anything on it, because that's what's going to make your eye look open when you do the fun part, which is coming up now, which is my favourite, which is eyeshadow. So, don't Chewy, she's a little nightmare. Every dog that comes in, she looks like the sweetest creature in the world, don't you, my darling? But you're not. She hates everybody, honestly, even me sometimes. Okay, so at this point, before we start putting on our eyeliner, if you can find yourselves one of these, I got mine on Amazon for like €1. Hold on a second, I've got Fee messaging me and it's going to be difficult. Fee, I'm doing a live video. No messages, please. It beeps really loudly in my ear. Okay. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was having to respond to Fee quickly. Right, so at this point you want to take these. And this is an eyelash comb, because any of the eyeliner that you've put into your lash line, you don't want it to be stuck in your lashes. So you're just going to run your eyelash comb through very, very quickly, because when it comes to putting on mascara or false eyelashes, you want to make sure your eyelashes are perfectly free of anything that you've put on. Okay, now, please don't be broken, please don't be broken. Not broken. Okay. Again, non-alcoholic beer. I am not breaking my no drinking rule. Okay, so now we're going to get on to the fun part, which is the eyeshadow. So, I have a cream eyeshadow primer, and you literally just, your little finger, put the primer wherever the eyeshadow is going to go. Be careful that you don't go over the eyeline that you've just put on. So you're going to take it just to where the eyeliner is. Now I use a cream one, but depending on how your skin is, if you have got, because I've got a lot of lid space, but if you've got more hooded eyes or more deep set eyes, it's better to get a liquid primer than it is to get a cream one, because the liquid one will sit better on your skin if you need that, because your eyes aren't as wide as mine are. I'm just going to do it quickly on the other one. I've just realised I haven't eaten today. Oh, the life of a teacher at the end of term. That's okay, I'm going out for Mexican shortly. Okay, the best thing about an eyeshadow primer is if you don't have a highlighter as well, take a little and just put it here underneath your eyebrow, because then when we put on our eyeshadow, it will be a nice contrast and it will just make your eye pop just a little bit more. It will also give your eyebrow line a little more definition. Okay. So as I said, I use a cream one, but if you've got more deep set eyes or more hooded eyes, it's better if you get a liquid primer. And again, don't spend lots of money on any of these products. You can find all of these things on Amazon for under 10 euros. And the things like the primers and the pencils, really, Rimmel is fantastic for pencils. Their Kohls are fantastic, and they're like £1.50, maybe £2. Okay, so now we're going to take the first step, which is we're going to take this kind of brush. Again, I will link all the products that I use in the description, in the comments box later, but I picked a really cheap Amazon UK set of brushes. So if you don't have these brushes, I think the one that I chose was about £6.95, something like that, but this is a really nice brush to use. Give me just a second. Okay. So, now here is my favourite part. Okay, so these are my favourite eyeshadow makers. They're really cheap because they're a Korean brand. Now, obviously, I lived in China, so I've had a lot of experience with Asian makeup, and it is. Oh, sorry, it's not Korean. It's actually Hong Kong that makes this. Now, there was a lot of worry that a lot of makeup was coming out of China wasn't good and had different ingredients in it, but Beauty Glazed is a really lovely company. They do really lovely colours and pigments, and because they're aimed originally at the Chinese market, because Chinese people have a different skin tone to us, their pigments in their eyeshadows are much brighter than those that are made by Western companies. So you tend to get a much better strength of colour with Beauty Glaze. And this palette, as I said, I will link all of these in the description. You can get on Amazon for less than £10. So this is another Beauty Glazed one that I don't use as much at the moment because it's red and it doesn't go with my hair anymore. But to give you a general idea of how good the pigments are, I'm just going to take this one here. As you can see, I'm not pressing hard at all, and then it's a really lovely strong colour that comes up. Okay, so really nice. You don't need to use a lot to make sure it's the right colour. So for what I'm going to be doing this evening, I'm going to be using Over the Rainbow by Beauty Glaze, and I'm going to be using Neptune by Beauty Glaze. Again, these are all available on Amazon, and I will link in the comments after this is finished. Okay, so to start with, you want to do your under eye, okay? Because your under eye is going to take a lot less time than doing your top, and it will give you something to balance on. So you're going to take your brush that is shaped like this, and this is for eyebrows. If you're using a powder eyebrow, that's why it's got this on the end, or for precision line work on your eyes. Okay, so this bit's a bit gross, but it is the best way to do it. So you're going to stick your tongue out and just dab on the end of your tongue. So it's a little wet, and that's because you want the colour to come out strongly. Now if you remember, I did light blue in this part of my eye coming out to darker purple. So I'm going to start with a really nice light blue, which is this one here. You can see, oh, sorry, here. Actually no, I'm going to use the Neptune first. Okay. I'm going to use this one here, which is a lighter blue colour. It's looking a little bit green on my computer, but I promise it's blue. Okay, so you just want to do it in a downward fashion and always blow. My husband would love to hear me say that. Always blow to make sure that you're not going to get anything to drop onto your eyes. Now some people buy eyeshadow protectors. You can use that. They hurt like hell to take off. I think just making sure you've and should be fine. So for this one, I'm just going to do it in that bit of the eye where I put the light blue pencil. And automatically you should be able to see that that colour is now much stronger because it had the base of the eyeliner and now it's got the colour going on top. So if you can see closely, you should be able to see how this one is much brighter than this one. So I'm just going to do that again. Dab, 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 stroke, 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 blow. And just apply around the side of the eye where you put the lighter shade. Now this is your highlighter colour, and the highlighter colour is there to draw attention to this point of your eye, and that's why we leave this bit clear, because then when we draw attention here, it elongates your eye. So you've got here and here as your points, so the whole eye looks longer and bigger. Anime eyes. Okay, now this is where you want to go back to your nice cup of Sprite and your paper, and you're just going to rinse your brush off. You should do this between every single one because you don't want the colour to bleed. Very important when you do this one, because you might say, oh well, it's just wet now. It's got shampoo in it. Don't care if it's Johnson's baby shampoo, you don't want to keep it next to your eye. So make sure it's dry completely and that all the colour is off, so that when you do this on your piece of paper, there's no colour. Okay, you can see there it's completely white. Okay, that's so that you're not going to get any difference in the colour, and the colour is going to be nice and strong. Now I'm going with purple for the corner to match my hair. So with the Beauty Glaze palette, you've got your purple line here. So you've got lilac, dark purple sparkles, they'll come later, a kind of cherry wine colour, and then the purple that I'm going to use at the bottom here, which matches my hair. So again, because I'm using it for line work, dab on the end, stroke, and blow. Remember that we're going to be stopping before the end. I'm just going to try and come a little closer to you so you can see it. Okay, so we're going to be going just a little closer, and then you're going to use the tip of the brush to shade it gently into the blue so that it follows the colour, and all of a sudden it goes from blue into purple, but there's not a stark contrast. Okay, so you should now be able to see with this eye pardon me, with this eye, how it's coming out more. Does anybody want a dog? Chewy! Chewy, do you want to be slippers? Do you? Chewy, come here. Come here. Up. Come here. Wait, no, here. No. No. Bad dog. Bad. Oh, stop being so cute. Oh. I don't know what I did to my computer then, but it all went black. Okay. So we're going back to the colour again. Dab, 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 tap, tap, tap. I promise it gets more interesting after this. And again, we're just going to blend to about 2/3 of the way to the edge of the eye, and then up into the corner, so it's a seamless blend, and it doesn't just look like it suddenly goes blue to purple, blue to purple. There should be a nice oh, I'm glad that Chewy can't hear honey, because Chewy would bark back and we would just be in the middle of a bark fest. We don't need that. My neighbours are already angry enough that Chewy barks at everything. Oh, come on, Lita, you want to sit down too. Lita, come on. Siéntate. Muy bien. If you hear me speaking Spanish to Lita, it's because she's a Spanish dog and she just does not understand English commands. She's 11, that's not going to change now, I don't think. Literally, the best Spanish I speak is giving instructions to Lita. That's it. Okay. So now, again, we're going to be changing colours again. So we're going to dab in our Sprite jar, take off the colour, and as you can see again, no colour coming off, so the colour you put on is going to be nice and bright. So this is the part where we're going to start where our main flicky dramatic eyeliner is going to come from. Okay, so I'm going to be using this blue to start with, this blue here. The one directly here is a shimmer blue, which I will be using later, but I want the darker blue first of all. So so this is where we're going to start getting a bit dramatic, ladies and gentle fegals, if there are any gentlemen watching this evening. So remember that line that we did first of all on our lash line? We're going to go over that now. Now this, you should be trying to use a more straight single line, because you've already got the template, so you're literally just following the line you did before, and it should be nice and easy to do because you've got the line from before. And because you've got the line from before, straight away you can see it comes out really, really strong and really, really bright. But again, that's partly beauty glazed because their eyeshadows are amazing. So again, we're just going to close our eye for this. Run along the line that we drew before, right into the corner. Okay, now this is where your line is now going to start getting a little bit thicker. So you're going to start building the colour up a little bit. So I'm going to take the colour that you're using, whatever colour it may be, and we're just going to follow the line that we created earlier with our lash line, but we're just going to come a little bit above it each time. And this is going to act as a guide for the flicky eyeliner, the dramatic eyeliner that you're going to see. Now don't forget, you've got cotton buds for a reason. Every now and then you should be doing this because you want this part of your eye to stay clear, and it will also give you a nicer line here to do your dramatic eyeliner with. So keep building up that colour on both sides, going slightly higher than before, but still following the same line. So you're not changing the shape of your eye at all, you're just making the line we drew earlier more dramatic. And my eye is starting to water a little bit, mainly because I've got a fan on. So I'm just going to soak that up a little first before I continue. Okay, so as you can see now, my eyes are very blue. Okay, so now we're going to work on the area here to pop in how we're going to do the kind of nebula look that you guys asked for, but I'm going to be using slightly different colours. So for now I'm going to stick with the blue that I've been using to do this line, because that's what's going to act as our outline and filler. So again, colour of choice. Now this bit is the part you need to pay attention to, because getting this line right is really, really important. So again, look down. I will end you. Honestly. Chewy, you are the reason I can't be a YouTuber. I hope you know that. Sorry. Okay, so you want to be looking down. Just make sure that your primer hasn't creased at all. Honestly, I'm going to kill my dog. Shut up. Don't you talk back to me. If in doubt, throw a tennis ball. Okay, so you want to be looking with your head tilted back, because that's the best way to see your eyeball. And what we want to do is put a line from this part of your eye here, the corner, and you want to basically follow the line of your eyeball down. Okay? So that is not difficult to do. You're literally just following the line of your eyeball. Okay? And it should, if you've done it properly, meet the edge of your eye where we drew our line to. Okay? Because again, we want to emphasize what you actually have, which is beautiful eyes. We're not trying to change the shape, we're not trying to do anything else, we want to emphasize your eyes. So this now is going to give you, this line is going to give you the canvas area that you're going to work with for putting the dramatic nebula eyeshadow on. Again, we're just going to do the same thing. This eye, I'm trying to do it so that you guys can see what I'm doing, but it's really hard with this tiny little mirror. Again, you're just going to follow your eyeball, and then don't blink, which is what I just did. And then you should have two spaces. I need to do this one a little more so it's dark, but as you can see, you should now have 2 points that follow your eye. Just going to quickly fix this one. Okay, so now, as you can see, we've got our space for working on. And the inside of this is what's now going to give us the definition and the what's going to give us the definition and the bright colours. And when it comes to doing our flicky eyeliner, then we're going to be able to use this corner here to flick up from. Okay? There is a cheat way of doing the flicky eyeliner. And if you go, oh, I've just used the one that I had the Sprite water in. Oh. Okay, well I can safely say nobody ever wants to get Johnson & Johnson's baby shampoo up their nose. Not good. Not good at all. Oh, the sacrifices I make for my mound. Okay, so now we're going to use a different brush, but we're going to clean this one because we will be coming back to it a little bit later. So what we want to do first is we want to do our dramatic colour. So because you guys asked for the Galaxy Nebula thing, what we're going to basically be doing is putting large amount of colour in the middle, which is going to be our status colour, and then we're going to be using a similar blue colour to what we've used as our outline to blend down. Okay? Okay, so that one's clean. So now you want to take a different brush. This one looks like this. It's quite a fixed brush, it's quite firm, okay? But it's really, really nice for loading colour on, which is what we want to do first. So, with this, because we're going for Nebula, I've already got the purple on under here, and this was the purple I used there. So now we're going to use this bright purple here for the centre, but I'm also going to mix in a little pink to make it stand out a little bit more. So again, take your brush, one dab with your tongue, and then always, and this is to maximize how much eyeshadow you get. 1, 2, 3. Always go straight down, never. I swear, if people don't stop coming into my building, I'm just going to go outside and put a sign on saying, everyone here has got coronavirus, don't come in. Chewy! Chewy, come here. Get up here, now. Settle down. She's looking at me like I'm going to get up and bark again. I know she will. Okay. So first of all, we've got our purple, we did our one dab, and now what we're going to do is with our eye closed, we want to put the colour, first of all, in the centre. So we're going to run it just down in the centre, like this, so that it blends into the line at the top and the line at the bottom. You may have to go back to the colour that you've used once or twice to build up enough colour that you want. But as you see, if I've got my eye closed, it kind of looks like another eye. Okay? And that's the look that you want in the middle, because you're going to be building the rest of it around it, but this is your statement colour. Occasionally, if you get it drop onto your eye, blow upwards, try and get it gone. You don't want to rub it, because then you're just going to end up with eyeshadow all over your face. Thanks Nina, thanks. That's the face I make about 35,000 times a day. Okay, so you want to make sure this colour is in the middle. So I'm just going to quickly repeat that on the other side. Remember, always stroke one way down, always the same way. Whenever you're using eyeshadow, it will lengthen the amount of times you can use the eyeshadow. because you're not rubbing in different directions, which causes friction and causes the eyeshadow to break up. Okay. Okay. So now I'm going to clean that one off quickly because we're going to be using a brighter colour in a minute. But what you should have is this now. Okay, so you should have the lines in the centre, and that's what we're going to blend out from in just a moment. 1 second, I'm just going to turn my AC up a bit because my toes are cold. I've turned into a real Spanish person. I went to bed last night and it's like 30 degrees here at the moment, and I went to bed with a hot water bottle. Hot water bottle, of course. Okay, so we've cleaned off the brush, and I am just going to quickly tie my hair back so that you can see what I'm doing. Don't worry, I promise the purple hair will come back at a later date. Okay, so now we want to take, because we've got this lovely bright purple, which I don't know if you can see how bright the purple is, but it's, I know they look like similar colours, but they're intended to, because you are trying to blend rather than look like you're, well, wearing clown makeup. So now I'm going to take this lovely purple, this lovely pink here. It's really, really bright. Again, it's difficult for you to see how bright it is on this camera because it's my webcam camera. It's my computer camera rather than my webcam camera, which sucks. But it's a really beautiful, bright pink. So hopefully you should be able to see it. I come a little closer. So now what we're going to do is just, oh yeah, you can really see that. Do the same as we did before. Always best to raise your eyebrow when you do this so you get the best space possible. And so you should be able to see now how we're building up that colour in the middle, and now it's more of a pinky purple with purple on the outside and pink directly in the middle. My favourite bit happens in a second because then the sparkles come out. Okay, so now you should be able to see, if I come closer and close my eyes, how we've got a strong pink in the middle and then that nice base purple that we put on before on either side. So now, at the moment, it looks quite silly. I've just got lines on my face. If at this point you want to make the pink even brighter, clean off your brush, or whatever colour you've chosen. I'm using pink, obviously. Clean your brush off, make sure you've got no pink on it, and then take a sparkle colour. So I'm just going to, it's okay, I don't give detentions anymore. I technically finished work, school terms yesterday, so I'm not giving any homework or anything. As of next week, I'm so happy because I only have to work on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and so having Mondays and Friday long weekends from next month is just, I will finally get to finish Fire Emblem Three Houses, which I've been playing for a year now. Although I have put 500 hours into that game. Okay, Sarah, if you've got hooded eyes, as I said before, it doesn't really matter. You might not be able to do eyeshadow like this because the eyes are hooded. But what you should always do is put your eye back, follow the eye line of where your eyeball is. So for example here, this is the top of my eyeball. And where my eyes aren't hooded, I can see it really clearly. But what you need to do if you've got hooded eyes is put a darker line on the eyeball, where I've gone quite light here, but you put the darker line across the eyeball, and then you put a lighter highlighter here around this part of the eye, and then you put some statement colour on the eyelash line, okay? And then you'll see the statement colour because of the contrast between the highlighter and the darker line where you've put the eyebrow, where you've put your eyeball line, okay? You won't get it as bright as this. I've actually had makeup artists, like professional makeup artists who live nearby in different cities, see some of my pictures on Instagram and message me to ask if I will do, if they will let me be a model for fantasy eyeshadow for them, because I've got so much lid space. And I know that I'm really lucky. My friend is a makeup artist and she is forever jealous of how much lid space I've got. So I know it's really difficult if you don't have as much lid space, but that's why I'm explaining about putting the line wherever your eyeball is, because if you highlight inside between whatever bright color you've put here, then you've put a highlighter which will make this line stand out more, and then you put a darker line along your eyebrow line, then that should still make those colors come out, okay? If I do another one of these again, then I will do it to show how to do this similar style makeup but on a hooded eye. And because I've got lots of lid space, I can make my eyes look hooded with contouring, which is crazy. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of pink sparkle now because I want some sparkle pink in the middle. So again, remember, once. So I've got a beautiful sparkle pink in this eyeshadow palette. Honestly, I cannot recommend this palette enough. If you take anything away from today, it's by this Beauty Glaze Colour Fusion eye palette. So now, because this is a sparkle, I'm just going to use the tip here and just go in a line down the middle, just to give a little bit more brightness in the center. You don't have to worry about this being precise because it's your standout color. It's just there to give a little bit more oomph to things. Again, just in a line down the middle. Little sparkle to the eye. Okay, so now I'm just going to clean my brush off one more time because we're coming on to the final stage now, which is where we're going to blend it all in. Okay, still really clear. I'm happy to do as many tutorials as you guys like, so especially now that I've got more time because I'm not teaching as much. So if there's anything eyeliner or eyeshadow related that you want some help with, PM me, let me know what it is, and I will organise some time to do a tutorial video of it. Gillian, if you're still watching, I know you wanted to do false eyelashes. Yeah, it's like I've had practice. Gillian, I know that you wanted to do false eyelashes, but I can't do them tonight because I'm going out, and where we're going, false eyelashes would just be too dramatic with what I'm going to wear. Okay, so now we're going to take the same brush again, but this time, always important to brush off, blow off your eyeliners, eyeshadows. That sounds wrong. Blow off your eyeshadows. Just make sure there's no drops of extra eyeshadow anywhere. Like, for example, there's some yellow in my blue at the moment. I don't want yellow in my blue. Be gone, yellow. And it's gone. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Okay, so now we used the darker blue before, and we've used the sparkle pink. And remember I said we were going to come back to that sparkle blue, which is this one here, which is a really, I really hate this. Next time I'll try and make sure I've worked out how to use my actual webcam, because doing everything backwards on this one, it's a sparkle blue, it's a shimmer, and it's still quite dark, so we're going to use this as the contrast between the darker line where we drew on our eyeball, along our eyeball line, and along our lash line, to blend in with the little bits of white that you can still see. So we'll start here. Now don't worry if at first you may have to do it a few times to build up the right colour, because remember at this stage all we're doing is filling in the gaps. The blending will come later. So you may have to do it a couple of times to get the colour that you want to come up. But keep going, and remember, don't go past the eyeball line, and don't go past the lash line that we drew in earlier. Because if you do, that's going to make it really difficult to put the liquid liner on later. Okay, so it's at this point, now you should be able to see that I've got a new blue, and it contrasts really nicely with the purple and the pink that I put in the middle. I think that's enough, because then I'm going down. Now it's at this stage you can start to blend, because what you don't want is that, I hate doing this backwards. Oh, sweet Lita. Chewy is a little asshole and just barks at everything, and the older dog, Lita, is just the floppiest creature in the world. Come here, Lita. Come here, Papa. So you can just pick her up. Give her kisses. Here. No, don't lick me that much. I know where that tongue goes. So she's a little sweetheart. She doesn't bark, and she just wants to be sat next to you all the time. So she's just come and sat right down next to me with her head on my lap. Yeah, you sweet girl. Lay down, Poppet. Settle down. Good girl. Don't lay on my sponge. Thank you. Sorry. Two loves of my life. Makeup and dogs. And my husband. And my husband. Probably should have said 3 loves. Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to wipe my face down a little because Lita licked me, and Lita, if you not, no, oh. Animals. Okay. So, I will try and get this bit done really quickly because I know it's pretty boring watching me do the same thing. So again, you're going to take the same shade that you used on this side and fill in. And again, you might need to do it once or twice to get the colour you want. But if you've used, make sure you've used a nice primer, and remember, if your skin isn't as firm, use a liquid, or if you've got more hooded eyes, use a liquid rather than a cream primer for your eyeshadow, and you should get this nice bright colour. And at the moment it kind of looks like I've got an eye if I open and close my eye, but remember we're going to Sarah, the whole video will be available to watch, so if you just join from 1:44 when you come back, then yes, you'll be able to watch everything else. And if you've got any questions at all, pop them in the comments and I will get back to them. Probably tomorrow, because as I said, I'm going out after this, and you probably won't, I won't be in the state really to answer questions, because I think I'm going to have a glass of wine, and 1 glass of wine after so long without is probably going to make me a little tipsy. So I'm quickly just going to do this eye. It's going to be quite funny when I go out tonight. This eye is going to look fantastic and this second eye is going to look rushed, because I don't really want you sitting there bored while I do exactly the same thing. The best person to do makeup tutorials? Cyclops. Honestly, it'd be so much easier. Always remember to blow on your eyeshadow brushes, because the last thing you want is pigment dropping here and then you ending up with streaks. Streaks are the worst. They take forever to correct, and if you've just done a really nice job with your primer and your concealer and everything else, you're like, ah. Okay, so now you should be able to see, if I close my eyes, I've got three very distinct colours there. Okay, I'm just actually going to add a little bit of that darker blue here because I like it. Sorry, I'm just trying to tidy up this eye so it looks as crisp as the other one, because otherwise when I go out later it's going to look insanely stupid. Okay, so now you can see that I've got three very outstanding colours. So what we don't want is three very outstanding colours at all. We want to blend these. So we've got the feature of the purple in the middle, and I'm going to add some glitter to that so it really does stand out. But we want to blend all of the three colours in together so it comes out nicely. So for this, I've cleaned off this brush, but we're not going to use this brush for that. We're going to use a circular brush which is softer than the last one. Okay, now this is the only one that you aren't going to lick. Okay, no more licking brushes from this point. So with this one, you're going to take it, and now as you can see, you can still see the eyeball line along here. We don't want any lines, so in little circles, you're just going to blend in all across that line. Now this bit probably is going to take a little bit of time, so I'm going to cheat and just do it a little quicker than I would usually. Okay, but you should do this bit slowly, because the most important part of putting on good eyeshadow is blending. Okay, so little tiny circles with this brush to blend the colours in, so you keep that nice colour in the middle, but everything else blends into one. So you should really be doing it in little circular motions, as I said before, but I want to do this a little faster because I'm already aware that I've taken up nearly 2 hours of people's time this evening, and you've probably got better things to do on a Friday than watch me put eyeshadow on. Okay. So at this point you can see the difference between the two with the blending. Okay, so this one still looks, this one, I hate being back to front, okay, this one, yeah, this one still is completely unblended, but this one is now blended. Okay, I still need to do a little bit more blending at the top, but we're going to use the last colour to do that, just to bring that purple back out again. So remember, we're going to do eyeshadow eyeliner as well to give some more definition, but this part of all of them is the time that you want to take the most time with. Okay, so you can bring this just over your eyeball line because you want to be blending it in, so it comes out slightly higher. As you can see, it's not as crisp as this one is, but it's blended. Okay, and you've still got the colours that you want, And then you're going to take another brush that's like this, but slightly thicker, just to turn down the top part. And that you should do with this kind of motion, okay? Because with this kind of motion, it's making sure you've got the shape that you want. Okay, so now I'm just going to quickly, now I'm going to quickly do the other one, hopefully slightly faster, because I don't want to take up all your time. Okay, remember that you're sticking to the lash line with the base colour, but with the eyeball line you're going to take that slightly over, otherwise you aren't going to get the blending in. Okay, so then again you take your bigger one and you're going to shape. Okay, so now you've got blended eyeshadow. So we still want to make the part in the middle a little bit more dramatic, because as you can see now the purple's there but it's not really there, and we want it there. So let me just quickly clean these brushes. It's really important when you're using eyeshadow on a regular or semi-regular basis that you get used to cleaning the brushes as you go along. It's not fun, it's not enjoyable, but because it's near your eye and near your skin, you can get bacteria on the brushes, and you don't want bacteria on the brushes if you're going to be putting them near your eyes, obviously. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this one, the shape brush that we used originally to draw the line. And that's because we're going to take that nice bright pink colour from earlier, but this time we're going to really block it in the middle. And use it like we did with the underline for the under eye here. We're going to use it to fade the statement colour into this corner of the eye, so in towards your nose. So now you should have a slightly more, I'll take some pictures afterwards because, as I said, the webcam on my computer is not fantastic. So I'll take some pictures afterwards and put them directly in the comments so you can see exactly just how bright this eyeshadow is once you've got it on. So again, we're going to go a line down the middle and then just use it to blend in here. Okay, so that's mostly the eyeshadow done now. Just drying off my blending brush a little because I'm just going to quickly give a last blend now that I've done that. So the problem with these really soft brushes is they're fantastic for blending, but they really hold water. So there's you trying really hard to blend your eyeshadow nicely, and all of a sudden, if you don't dry your brush quickly enough or properly or well enough, then all your hard work of the last hour and 55 minutes of putting on beautiful blended eyeshadow is gone because you run a great big wet brush over the top, and you don't want that. So again, this is the shaper one, so we're just going to quickly run it across the top to make sure there is no full line. I don't want to see any dramatic line like we put on at the beginning to show the eyeball line. That line is literally just there to give you an idea of how high your eyeshadow is going to go. Sorry, I've not done this before, so I can't really see when you can see it or when you can't. Okay, so that's literally all the blending and everything done with the eyeshadow. So now what I'm going to do, because we want to highlight a little bit, is I've just gone back to the primer. Remember what I said before, I've gone for cream because I've got a lot of lid space, but if you've got less lid space or hooded eyes, go for a liquid one, it's more effective. And now I'm just going to quickly highlight back in here and up to my eyebrow line to make sure that that blend is perfect, so it doesn't look like I've got any lines anywhere. I'm just going straight from blue into skin. And if you want, because you're using a highlighter, you can always use it to put like a lighter shimmer colour, like a taupe, or I wouldn't go with white because it's not 1993 anymore, but a lighter colour here that will just open your eye out a little bit more. Okay, just going to quickly do the other eye, and then the bit that Gillian has been waiting for, the flicky eyeliner. Now this could happen sometimes when you're using primer, because it's thicker than the the foundation that you put on for your face. It can sometimes kind of look too thick against the foundation that you put on earlier. So that's when you're going to take out one of these and just quickly use that to blend in just that little bit better, and then it will stop it from smudging. Okay, it's at this point as well that it's a good idea to go back to your beauty blender. Now, because you've still got, you haven't washed it yet, and you've still got some foundation on, you don't need to put any more foundation on, but you're just going to give it a quick tap around here. And remember, we dab, we don't smear, we dab, so that any eyeshadow pigment that has fallen off while we're getting ready is no longer there. Okay? And this time you can go slightly further up towards your eye, because now your lines are in place underneath your eye for the statement colour. Now, before you put your flicky eyeliner on, and I always recommend an inkwell for that, okay? If you haven't used an inkwell before, or you're not very good with an inkwell, you can buy liquid eyeliners that come like felt tip pens, and they're easier to hold. So if you're not very, apologies, allergy season for me here still. It's like 2 months of a year in this part of the world where I don't have allergies. This is not one of them. If you're not great with using an inkwell, it's my preferred, but I've been putting on eyeliner for, oh god, 26 years. I'm getting old. 26 years. Now I definitely want a drink. Oh, make do with fake beer. Okay, so remember I said earlier about the eyelash curlers, and we would come back to them. This time we're not going to heat them because obviously we've got eye makeup on now, and if we heat them your eyeshadows are going to melt. You don't want that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to very gently, you don't want to touch on your eye, the top of your eye, but we're just going to do it again and hold it for a couple of seconds. If you feel your eye start to water, like mine just did, stop straight away, take out the bud, take out the excess water that's come up. It's the worst part of me. I can poke myself in the eye, but sometimes using eyelash curlers makes my eyes water really, really, really badly. But unfortunately it's a necessary evil. Okay, so we're just going to curl them again, because once we've done the flicky eyeliner, that's when the mascara comes on. And for me, the mascara is the most important part of the whole process. Okay. So, I've combed my eyelashes out, the eyeshadow is on, we come to the liquid eyeliner. Now, as I said, the liquid eyeliner for me, I find much easier, but if you aren't used to using an inkwell, you can get a pen version, and the pens are really, really simple to use. Okay, so what you want to do, I'll just show you what I did, because I did that off camera, because I'm not good at this yet. Always shake before you start. Take it out and then draw off any excess liquid. You don't want too much liquid on it, okay? The tip is already soaked with liquid, so if you pull it straight out and put it straight onto your eye, you're going to end up with basically this everywhere, and you don't want that. So again, we're going to start with our head tilted back, and remember that first line we drew, the blue line? You should still be able to see that at this point, because we blended from here upwards, okay? Stray eyeliner. Okay, so I'm going to try and come as close as possible so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to start in about the middle of the eye, and then you come to the corner where we drew our blue line to, and we're going to fill it in. Now I'm going to be quiet for this part because it's really difficult to talk and put eyeliner on because you're resting your hand on your face. So what you can see what I've done here is I've just used the blue eyeliner that I put on earlier, the Kohl pencil, and I've brought the eyeliner just out to the corner, for now, it will go higher, of where we put the eyeshadow on. Okay, so you've just got that flick at the corner now. So now we're going to refill and shake. Okay, you're going to have to do that several times to do this because you want the eyeliner pen to not have too much liquid on it, because again it will go everywhere, so you will have to keep going back and repeating that process. Now it's best here if you have your eye closed and raise your eyebrow as much as you can. Now what you're going to do here is again follow the line that you drew earlier with the Kohl pencil. So you should be able to see now the definition coming out. Now this part you can do with your eye open, but just gently draw from the inside corner of the eye, literally following up to meet the line. Okay, so as you can see here now, all I've done is so far I've just followed the line of my eye and the eyeliner that we put on earlier. But as you can see, looking at the two eyes, there's much more definition in this one now than this one. Okay, now when you're putting on the eyeliner with the ink, it's very important, like when we did with the pencil, to do it in little strokes, to keep doing it like that. Keep going on with the little strokes, because trying to do one single line is going to mess you up. I've been putting this on for years and I still don't do it in one single line. Unless I'm doing someone else's face, and then I can do it in one single line. But if you're doing it to yourself, small strokes is best. Okay, so remember how when we put on the eyeshadow to follow this line, we started by increasing it. So now that we've got this one line, what we can now start doing is bringing it out more, but sticking to the line that we've already got, because we've now got this perfect line. Okay, and we want to keep it perfect, and the best way to keep it perfect is just slowly build it up. So we want to come slightly higher up. So again, I'm going to go quiet now because I need to balance my hand on my face. So we've gone to the edge of where the eyeliner is, but we want to come up a little bit. So I've just put a little dot to see where you're going to go to. And that is the outer edge of where the blended eyeshadow is. So basically we're now just going to play connect the dots. Okay, so what you should have now is a longer line. Okay, now that isn't the dramatic flick that you want, and that's because what we're going to do now is take it from that higher point that we've got, and we're going to make it thicker just on this part here. Okay, you want this line on this part of your eye to remain on your eyelash line, because contrary to popular belief, the thinner the eyeliner is and closer to your lash line on this section of this section of your eye towards your nose, the bigger your eye will look. If you overlaid in it here, then your eye is going to look really closed shut. So if we look now, we want to take from the corner, the bottom part of our eye, and this is really just about filling in the gaps now. So open your eye as wide as you can and fill that in so you've got like a little triangle there. Then you're going to continue the line till you've got a nice point there. And now this is the beauty of liquid eyeliner, because if you go slightly wrong, because mine has gone a little bit wrong here, take a tint, make it a tiny bit damp, and just run it along. and it will automatically thin out whatever you've done wrong. Then take the dry side and just clean around the edge. Okay, so now we've gone from the corner of the eye and we've filled in that triangle and we've got the point that we want. So now we're going to go back to the eyeshadow pot, eyeliner pot. Take off the excess again, and this part is really important that you take off the excess, because if you get this part wrong, basically everything you've done with your eyeshadow, pointless, because you're going to have to take it off and start again. So now that we have this line here, I want to go to about this point where the triangle starts and draw across. And you're just going to keep doing that motion until you finally have your dramatic eyeliner. When you close your eye, it should look like one single line. Okay? So if you then just want to make it a little bit more defined, you should see now this is like called cat's eye eyeliner. So you can definitely see the difference between the two once the eyeliner has gone on. So it's very easy to get cocky at this moment, but you've still got to take your time and still go slowly. So what you're going to do is just bring that up. Make sure that line there, this part here is crucial. And then we're just going to go quickly across the eye again. Remember, tiny strokes. Just building it up, and there you go. Dramatic eyeliner. Okay, now if you want, you can take it into the corner here and just bring it out a little bit more. But I only recommend doing that. Like I'm going to take that bit off before I go out, because as I said, I've got allergies, my eyes water sometimes, and liquid eyeliner is not the most waterproof thing in the world. Okay, love you too, Mez. Night night, baby Z. So I'm quickly just going to try and match that on the other eye, but I'll do it as quickly as I usually do. So give me just a second. Sorry, I've just realised you can't see what I'm doing because I've got a mirror in my face. Give me just a second. Do it from this side. Okay, nearly done. Sorry guys, trying to get it done as quickly as possible. Usually when I do this myself, it takes like 35 minutes for me to do the whole thing, but because I've had to stop and explain all the way through, it's taken a lot longer. Also, I would recommend when you put on eyeliner, you do it in a mirror that you can sit face on, because otherwise it's very, very difficult to match your eyeliner, because I can't see what the other eye looks like in such a small mirror. Usually when I get ready in the bathroom. So as you can see, this eye is going up and this one's not going up as well. So I'm just going to have to quickly redo this bit here. If this happens to you when you're... Okay, thank you, Jill, I will try my best. If this happens to you when you're doing eyeliner, dramatic eyeliner, and one is lower than the other, it's really easy to correct. Simply make it higher along the line. Okay, so right now this one looks like a mess because there's just too much eyeliner there. But then we go back to our trusty cotton buds, and we're just going to thin it out from the bottom because we want it to look high like the other one. Okay, so now you should have two identical eyes. Okay, okay, so basically the last thing that you have to do now is mascara and any kind of lipstick. Now I was always taught when I was young, lips or eyes, and that has kind of stuck with me all my life. I know people who disagree and will say, oh no, you can do both, but I honestly think if you're going to do a statement eye like we've done this evening, we don't want to take attention away from that. So just get yourself like a nice lip gloss. If you're doing bright colours, I recommend any kind of holographic lip gloss. Now the one that I'm using unfortunately is only available in Spain because it's a Spanish brand, but any holographic lip gloss is perfect. And then all you quickly do you should pop in your holographic lip gloss, and it's not going to take anything away from your eyes that you've done. Shut, damn it. Okay, so somebody asked me earlier about lengthening eyelashes. Okay, so the first thing that you need to remember when you are doing your eyelashes is eyelash care. Okay, every night, and this is such a simple thing to do, every night, Vaseline. Okay, when you've cleansed your makeup, when you've got all of your makeup off, you just take a little bit of Vaseline on your finger. You really don't need much. Your finger even shouldn't be shiny. And this is especially helpful right now because obviously we've just used liquid eyeliner. So you're just going to put a tiny, tiny bit of Vaseline onto your lashes. When you do it at night before you go to bed, put a little bit extra on, and honestly you'll see the difference in your eyelashes within maybe a week to 2 weeks. They're much longer, they're much softer, they're much healthier, and it encourages growth. Now the reason we're doing it now is because we've put the liquid eyeliner on, and that sticks your eyelashes together, because obviously it's a liquid and it's dried while we're doing each of the others. So you put a little Vaseline onto your eyelashes. Out comes your trusty eyelash comb again, and we're just going to comb out using the Vaseline. We're just going to comb out the eyeliner that's on your lashes. As you can see on the end here, it's taking off quite a lot of black because that's the liquid eyeliner that we put on. Now because we've already curled our eyelashes twice, we don't need to do them again, which is really good because you don't want to mess up your wonderful eyeliner that you've just put on, and curling your eyelashes is going to do that. Now depending on the kind of eyelashes that you have, like I said, I've got quite long eyelashes already, but they're very pale, so you can't really see them. But like with any kind of makeup, or any kind of paint or anything that you do, what's really important is primer, okay? So as I mentioned at the start of the video, which was a long time ago, I use Max Factor Lash Revival. Now this includes, it's volume boosting and lengthening, and it includes bamboo extract, which is really, really good for your eyelashes. Always use the primer one coat first. When you're putting on primer or any kind of mascara, again, tilt your head back, put the primer to the base of your eyes, eyelashes, and in a small zigzag movement, making sure you cover the whole lash. You quickly put a layer of primer on. And the primer is white, but you're not going to see them coming up as white because of all of the liquid eyeliner you've got on your eye already. Okay, and it's at this point when you put the primer on, you can see if there's any leftover clumps of eyelashes. You don't want clumpy eyelashes, so it's while it's still wet, take your eyelash comb out and just comb out any clumps that you can see before they dry in with the primer on them, because if clumps dry in with the primer on them, that's it, you've got clumpy eyelashes until you take your makeup off. And then just quickly go over one more time to make sure all the lumps are out. Make sure you get into the corner, and then the same very quickly on the bottom, focusing on the tip. So you're really not going to the top of your bottom eyelashes, you're just focusing on the tips, because you want to elongate the tip, not the top. Okay, just going to quickly do the same on the other eye. And if you're anything like me, you will have one eye that loves having mascara put on it. Mine is this one. And you'll have one eye that is not so keen, and for some reason my mascara never looks as good on my left eye as it does on my right eye. I have no idea why. It's been puzzling me for about 20 years. If anyone knows the reason, I'd love you to tell me. It's like one of those things, if you could have any question answered, one of mine would honestly be, as vain as it is, why does my mascara on my left eye never look as good as my mascara on my right eye? Remember, little zigzaggy motions is the best way to make sure you're not going to get any clumps. And again, focus on the tip rather than the top when you're on the bottom lashes. Okay, so we're on the final stage now. Thank you if you've been with me all the way along. So now we're going to take our Lash Revival Max Factor, and honestly, I cannot recommend this mascara enough. It has literally transformed my life. It used to take me 5 or 6 coats to get the look that I wanted with my mascara, and now it takes me maybe 1 or 2. So we've got your primer on. Best thing to do when you have dark mascara, black mascara or dark brown, is just wave it around a little bit before you put it on, and this will also reduce the time or the chance of getting clumps in your mascara. So again, you're just going to start from the base of your lash, bringing it to the top. You don't want to do the zigzag as much on this one because you did that with your primer, and your primer has already got all of those little clumps out. So this is really just putting the colour on. And once you've gone from the base of the lash to the top, make sure you focus on the tip of the lash more, and this will make your lashes look longer. And because you put the layer of Vaseline on before you started, it's going to protect your eye from any of the nasty drying out stuff that happens when you put mascara on your eyes. Obviously, removing makeup is just as important. I usually use Garnier face wipes and just basically hold the wipe on my eye for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then very slowly in circular motions again take away the mascara. Never ever rub your eyes. It's going to give you really bad dark circles under your eyes. You're going to run the risk of pulling out your eyelashes if you do it like that as well. So yeah, we basically gentle circular motions until everything comes off. And for any skin imperfections that you have in the evenings, once your makeup has gone off and you're about to get into bed, I recommend 10% lactic acid, and you just pop it on your face. Make sure you wash your hands afterwards, and obviously that you don't get it in your eye. But 10% lactic acid, and within about 2 to 3 months you'll see a noticeable improvement in any dark patches, acne scarring or any other scarring that you've got, and it should help reduce the look of more open, wider pores. Okay, so as you can see, I'm just going to come closer. This is 1 coat of Max Factor Lash Revival. I can't sing its praises highly enough, honestly. So I'm just going to put 1 more coat on, just because we're going for that dramatic effect this evening. And 2 coats is always going to make your eyelashes look longer than 1 coat is. Make sure you always leave at least 30 seconds between applying coats, because otherwise you're going to get clumps. Okay? So make sure between each coat of mascara a minimum of 30 seconds. So if you put it on while it's still drying from the last coat, you're just going to clump up in the middle. and you don't want that. For your bottom lashes, you're only going to need one coat because it's the colour that you want people focusing on, of the colour of the eyeshadow that you put on before. This just to make your eyes look a little bit bigger, and it also has the double added effect of covering any fine lines you've got. It will be your eyelashes, your bottom eyelashes that cover that. So I am nearly finished now, and then I just have one final thing to do on the eyeshadow. And again, what I'm going to do from the eyeshadow is from the Beauty Glazed collection, and it's in the Over the Rainbow palette that I've been using this evening. But basically any Beauty Glazed palette is worth going for. The first one I got was the Neptune one, and it has 9 shadows in it, and it was like €3 on AliExpress. However, what I would recommend is getting their larger palettes. I know what you mean, Jenny. I wish you could come out with me now. It's always terrible. Make sure if you've been doing this as you go along and you've got a really nice set of makeup on, make sure you take some pictures before. And if you don't want to post them publicly because you think it's gone wrong or you're not 100% sure of it, send them to me in a DM and I'll tell you what you need to practice on slightly more. Okay, remember we're going to concentrate on the tips when we're putting the mascara on. Oh, sorry, I got distracted then because I was looking at the comments. But the Beauty Glazed palettes, they can come with the ones like I've been using tonight, the 9 Shadow Neptune one, or the ones with more colours like the Over the Rainbow. And there's also a very, very beautiful one, which I'm just going to quickly show you. That's it now, mascara's done. And this is called the Gorgeous Me palette. And the Gorgeous Me palette has 64 colours. So you've got your browns and your nudes for everyday wear, and then you've got your fantasy colours for the middle. And again, I think this one on Amazon is about €12. So maybe I can't do conversions into pounds anymore. I've lived in Spain for too long. Okay, so I'm just going to finally take my Colour Fusion palette from Beauty Glaze, and here on this one here, this is actual glitter. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're just going to smoosh our finger onto the glitter. Always blow, remember, always blow, because we don't want the pigment. And then we're just going to dab the glitter into the middle of the eye with our finger, and you should be able to see it shimmery a little bit in the centre, and then just down towards the nose. Blend it in with your finger. Because it's glitter, it's a statement colour, so it's just giving you some extra colour in the middle, so you don't need to worry about blending brushes or anything like that. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly put one more coat of mascara on because I'm very, very stupid and I just poked my mascara down by using the glitter. And there you go, we're done. So we've tips to take away. Tips to take away from tonight, main tips is find a primer that's good for your skin. If you've got redness in your skin at all, you need a colour correcting primer, and that's usually a green one. So that's really good for getting rid of any kind of red patches or any kind of discoloration you've got from acne scarring. I've got a lot of that up here. When you're putting on your foundation or any primer, make sure you don't go directly up to the top of your eyes. You want that to be more in the center, just underneath. When you're putting on your foundation, tap, 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 tap. We want it on your face, not on the cosmetic sponge, otherwise you're basically just wasting your money. And when we're going for the looks on the eyes, blending is key. We don't want it to look like 3 different colours until people get up close and then they can see the nice transition colours. Okay, and when you're wanting to do the winged tipped eyeliner, you start with a Kohl pencil, tap, 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 tiny strokes till you've got it how you want it. Make sure you have your trusty cotton buds around for making any corrections to the eyeliner that you need, or if your eyes start to water, for mopping that up. And then all you're going to do is, when you finish doing your eyeshadow, or even if you don't want to do eyeshadow, just use the pencil first and then take your liquid eyeliner and follow the natural line of your eye until you come out, and basically you should be able to touch your fingers. I'm just trying to work out which is which. There you go. And your fingers should be more or less in the same place. They're not here because my camera is not quite straight, but and I can't do up and down. Okay, so here, if I'm staring straight at the camera, it should be coming to the same point. Okay, and you can actually measure that from the tip of your eyebrow if you need to. So I'm going to go get changed and go meet my husband for tapas and a couple of our friends, after I've reapplied some foundation to my nose because I've been blowing it and I'm a little red now. So I hope this has been helpful to you. I hope I haven't bored you completely silly. I'm sorry it has taken so long. I thought it would take about an hour and a half, and it's nearly been 3 hours. So well done to any of you who managed to stay the course. Any questions that you've got, I'm happy to answer. And before I leave this evening, I will put into the box a list of everything that I used today and links to where you can buy it from, that what I found on the internet that was the cheapest options. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me tonight. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned some things. And if you want me to do one of these again with a specific look or about a specific thing, just ask, and I will be really happy to help. So have a fabulous night, guys. Thanks for being with me this evening. Mwah.